Do you feel unreasonably sad when summer's over? Or are you one of those people that celebrates the coming of fall and winter? I'm the former. And there was a time in my life when I truly thought that people who loved fall had something wrong with them. Turns out, there was actually something amiss with me. And if you feel the same way I did, and you mourn the end of summer, let's talk about it. Hello, my lovelies, and welcome to the Moving Toward Better podcast. I'm your host, Karen Bemis from movingtowardbetter.com, and I'm here to help you lean into what makes you authentically you so you can live your best life and let the rest go. And today, we're talking about the seasonal blues. That moment when the seasons change and your mood tanks, and you cannot figure out why people love the seasons you detest. When you do figure it out, though, it is such a game changer. Look, we all have seasons that we like more than others. I happen to love spring and summer. I have always said that I would rather the temperature be 50 degrees over freezing than 10 degrees below. Everything about warmer, sunnier weather appeals to me. And I've never understood people who like fall and winter. It took me years to figure out that my dislike for the colder seasons had everything to do with my personal physiology. And this is a subject I talk about every year at this time because figuring it out was life-changing at minimum and potentially life-saving. Because some years, my friend, that downward spiral was extraordinary. A lot of what I'm going to talk about in this episode is based on an article by healthresearch.org titled 12 Notable Seasonal Affective Disorder Statistics. I know that's a mouthful. And I want to make it very clear that I am neither a medical professional nor a mental health professional. So everything that I discuss here is based on my own experiences and those that others have shared with me. If you or someone you know has seasonal affective disorder or seasonal depression, or you suspect that you do, please consult a medical or mental health professional immediately. Also, the link to the article is in the show notes if you want to read it for yourself. So for years, I would dread the month of September. I detested the colder, rainy days of September and October and felt like the falling leaves each took a piece of my joy and happiness with them as they fell from the trees. The sound of crunching leaves that so many loved was truly irritating to me and reminded me that as the leaves died, my vigor and energy levels dropped as quickly as the leaves did. One year, I spent days laying on the couch, barely able to take care of my home and struggling to take care of myself and my family. And that's when I knew I had to do something. Sometimes Dr. Google is actually helpful. And for me, that definitely was the case. I think I Googled, why am I always sad in the fall? And the answer changed my life forever. Up until then, I had never heard the term sad or seasonal affective disorder. But when I looked up the symptoms, I knew I was onto something. SAD is directly related to the seasons. Some experience the seasons from fall through winter, and some through spring and summer. I'm going to talk about the fall through winter because I deal with those. It's estimated that 3 to 6% of Americans deal with SAD every year, with another 10 to 20% having mild episodes. Worldwide, the statistics often correlate with how far north the country is, with Norway having a higher incidence at 14%, which I'll explain in a minute. Some people deal with it through non-medical intervention, and some require medication. Some of the reasons people experience seasonal affective disorder are biological. Someone in your family may have it, or they have some other mental health challenge. Your vitamin D level drops because you live in a more northerly climate. The drop in daylight then reduces your serotonin levels, which makes sleep difficult, which affects your melatonin levels and quality of sleep. And when that happens, you find yourself becoming depressed, or hopeless, either mildly or severely. You have a loss of energy and a surge of anxiety. You find yourself withdrawing and either oversleeping or undersleeping, eating more or not eating at all, gaining weight, losing weight, having trouble concentrating, and all of the issues you might normally have if you have ADHD. But if you have ADHD, it's like your ADHD took steroids. And for me, it also includes mood swings that went from angry to sad and crying very quickly. Some of the other risk factors include simply being female, which is lovely, right? Already being diagnosed as depressed or bipolar, living further from the equator, and having much less daylight in the fall and winter months. And all of that can lead to seasonal affective disorder as well. So what do you do if you think you have SAD? The first thing I would suggest is to head to your doctor to have your vitamin D level checked. Getting that level right made such a difference for me because when SAD got really bad for me, initially was in perimenopause, and my vitamin D levels were very low. For those who don't know, vitamin D controls the production and activity of estrogen and progesterone to keep those hormones balanced, and also helps regulate insulin and blood sugar levels. So it's a pretty big deal to have a healthy vitamin D level, and it was certainly a game changer for me. That one thing started turning things around for me, but it wasn't the whole answer. The thing is that when I would get to the middle of October, I felt completely uncomfortable in my own skin. It was maddening. And one year, while talking to my doctor about it, I realized something. When I was younger, I used to take vacations in October and February every year, and I would head to warmer climates. I was never a huge beach fan, but I loved being at the beach in those months. The feeling of the sun and the warmth truly felt like it healed my soul. And that's when I realized the light was as important as the vitamin D levels, because I was supplementing the vitamin, but I wasn't supplementing the light. So enter my husband. One year for Christmas, my husband handed me the biggest present he'd ever bought. Usually he got me something nice, but it was like a gift card to a place I loved or to do something that he knew I would enjoy, like get a massage. This particular year, when he handed me his gift, he said he hoped I would understand why he bought what he bought and that I would be happy about it. When I opened it, it was a full spectrum light box. If you don't know what that is, it's something that you sit in front of and it simulates sunlight. It's safer than a sun lamp, but it has a similar effect. I'd been looking at them online, but I hesitated to buy one because they can be kind of pricey, and it seemed frivolous to spend that kind of money on something that may or may not work. It sounded a little weird. So this gave me a chance to try it out. I thanked my husband then because I knew he only wanted me to feel better. And I continue to thank him. Every year I get it out and put it away because it's one of the gifts that I use most. And it helps me be a better wife, mother, and human being. So what is not to like about that? The link to the one I have is in the show notes, and you can either visit the Moving Toward Better Amazon store and look at the Gifts to Lift You Up When You're Feeling Down tab. Those two things are the biggest helpers for me, but there's a few others I do find extremely helpful. First, I take the supplement SAMe for mood regulation. I started taking it with doctor approval, and I only take it for part of the year. When spring comes, I put it away until fall, and I do the same thing with the vitamin D, although I go from a higher to a lower dose for that. All of my treatments were discussed with my doctor, so please do the same for yourself, because even something as simple as light therapy can actually mess with other medications if you take them. I don't take any pharmaceuticals, so the light therapy was an easy add for me. But there are some medications that it does cause a problem with, so check with your doctor. Other easy adds are getting outside, taking advantage of what natural light there is during the daytime hours, surrounding yourself in your home with things that make you happy, decluttering when you have the energy and focus, eating healthy foods for you that you enjoy and eating them in ways that make you happy. For example, making a pretty plate. Moving your body in ways daily that brings you joy, whether that's a walk, a dance party, playing with your animals, your children or your grandchildren if you have them. All of those things can be incredibly helpful. Also, if you're willing to go a little out there, you can try, out there in quotes, by the way, you can try acupuncture, meditation, quiet or guided, yoga, and massage therapy. I'm a huge proponent of meditation, and I add journaling as well, especially gratitude journaling if you're feeling particularly low. It isn't always easy, but it does change your perspective for the better. And I have one more unconventional one to add: movies and television. I know that sounds odd, but movies and television that are uplifting. I repeat, they have to be uplifting. I know the temptation to watch sad things when you're feeling low, but I am begging you to fight that. Need some suggestions? Ted Lasso. If you haven't watched it, it is worth paying for Apple TV to watch. Yes, it has some language in it, but that show is the closest show to perfection I have ever watched. And all 3 seasons are now available on Apple TV. If you like cooking, The Great British Baking Show, or Bake Off as they call it in the UK, is terrific. If you've never watched it, I highly encourage you to. And again, there are several seasons to watch. This next one might throw you a little bit because it's a cartoon, but Bluey. Bluey is one of the best shows out there. It makes the kids happy if you have them, and there are adult themes that completely go over the kids' heads that parents enjoy. By the way, if you wonder how I found Bluey, it's because I have a grandchild. I don't have small children, but I have a grandchild. In addition, I just found out in Bluey that there's a hidden tennis ball and a hidden dachshund in every episode. So that kind of makes it fun and interactive to watch it as well. There are literally thousands of shows to choose from. And if you have something like Netflix, there's also a bunch of comedy specials that you can watch. The possibilities are endless, but by choosing those options, you can make the days that you end up on the couch a positive experience rather than one to judge yourself over. And I mean that. When you have those couch days, and you know what I mean when I say that, fill yourself with good input and call it a mental health tonic. Because when you're to that point, you deserve to treat yourself well. You really do. It is a way to take care of yourself that is kind when you need to rest. Now, I do have a few other ways to cope if you have the means to do it. And these cost money. That's the bottom line. One of the easiest things to do when you start feeling, as I call it, the veil drop, it's so easy to isolate yourself. You know that you're in a funk and you don't want to inflict your ick on anybody else, so you stay away from everybody. But that's where your sad lies to you, because it convinces you that no one wants to be around you when you're like this. The lie is that you're actually like this. You're feeling down, and when you're around people who truly care about you, it will lift you up. Whether it's meeting for a cup of coffee, your favorite beverage, lunch, dinner, or a night out for something fun, get out with people who love you and care about you. I promise it will help you, especially if you let them know you're feeling off. One of the things I naturally did before I knew I had SAD, included taking those October and February vacations. If you have the means, head for the sun, even if it's only for a long weekend. Some love the mountains, some love the beach, others love the woods. Whatever you love, get there and get as much sun, fresh air, whatever it is that you can get in nature, using your sunscreen, of course. Get out there and do it. Even if you go by yourself, it will help. I promise. This one is going to make some of you cringe, but you need to take care of yourself. Full transparency, I sucked at this for most of my life. I was convinced that everyone needed more than me. And I prided myself on being low maintenance. sometimes to my own detriment. SAD showed me that I had to take care of myself to take care of others. The thing that I found out is that when you don't fill your own cup, what comes out of it is bitter and tainted. But when you fill your own cup while you're pouring, what comes out is pure and sweet and life-giving to you and those you pour into. Think of it this way. When you take care of yourself in the best ways, you teach your loved ones to create a healthy balance in their own lives. And that breaks some pretty unhealthy habits and generational ickiness, which may have been the greatest lesson I got from dealing with my own seasonal affective disorder. One other important thing I learned was to listen to my body. Some years, I start coping earlier than others. This year, while I usually up my vitamin D dose around the first weekend in September, I actually started a couple of weeks early because I could almost feel that fall was coming. I still haven't gotten my light out this year because I haven't needed it yet, but as soon as I feel that dip coming, you can bet I will be pulling it out. One of the best things about seasonal affective disorder is how many things you can do to help yourself. And the more you take charge of things, the better you'll do through the fall and the winter. And as I always say, if the plans and coping skills you have aren't working, contact your doctor or mental health practitioner to make a new plan. It's what you pay them for, and it's what they truly want to help you with. Speaking of helping, I am currently helping people declutter their homes and offices, and there's still plenty of time to join us. We'll be decluttering every day, Monday through Friday, from September 18th, yesterday, through September 29th. You're welcome to continue over the weekend, but I don't currently plan to go live for that. You can join by going to the movingtowardbetter.com homepage and clicking the declutter challenge sign up in the upper right-hand corner. When we've done this in the past, we've had a great time. And I know that sounds weird, but we really do. And our homes look better too. Which I say to that, winner, winner, chicken dinner. We take 15 minutes each day, Monday through Friday. We work somewhere in our homes to either declutter, work on a project we've been procrastinating on, and we give ourselves some awesome momentum. The side benefit is you get to prepare your home for the holiday season long before it becomes a stressor in your life. I am constantly amazed at what you can accomplish in 15 minutes per day, especially when you build on the success of the day before. And why do we only do it for 2 weeks? Because I found that many people hit a stumbling block in the third week of decluttering or working on a project, myself included. So when we work for a couple of weeks and give ourselves some time off to catch up emotionally, we tend to keep going rather than getting frustrated and burned out. So head over to the Moving Toward Better website today and sign up for the challenge. And make sure you get all the upcoming information, because I do send out an email every day for those who have signed up for the challenge. Part of why I talk about SAD at this time of year is because September is Suicide Prevention Month. And often when people deal with things like seasonal depression or SAD, they think their issues are much less important. But I'm here to tell you that they're not. By trying to ignore your symptoms, you merely shove things down, and they can easily show up in unhealthy ways elsewhere, like yelling at those you love most and being angry at people for seemingly no reason. It isn't pretty, and there are so many things you can do about it. So if you're someone who deals with seasonal issues, what do you do about it? If you have additional solutions, I would love to hear them. And if you want to get your home in shape with daily encouragement, if you think that might be something that you need, go to the movingtowardbetter.com site and press the button in the upper right-hand corner to join the Declutter Challenge. There's still plenty of time to get things accomplished and have fun with it. So until next time, keep moving toward better. Keep shining your light as brightly as you can. And take really good care of yourselves. Love you all. At Moving Toward Better, it's our mission to help you unlock a fantastic life, powered by what's unique and authentically you. To learn how we can help you in your quest, head over to movingtowardbetter.com to check it out, or use the links in the show notes. Thanks for listening, thanks for being you, and have a great day. Love you all.